Hey, everybody. Welcome to another impromptu Mothers Unfiltered episode where we're talking about election. And it's so funny because let me put my glasses on. It's so funny because I actually was going to put like crazy ass election 2020, what the fuck part 2. I was just going in, and I didn't know what I should have did, but I was like, you know what? Let me just stick to election 2020 just to kind of keep it civil. Maybe I could have some type of some decorum at this moment in this such a crazy environment that we're in. We're going to actually be talking with my lovely co-host, cousin Ty. I'm glad I still have my glasses intact. I had threatened that I was going to eat them, and
I'm still sipping my tea.
And also, I was just having a panic attack. But I wanted to also bring my brother on. He's going to come on shortly, and talk about this election because I knew that. So let me just backtrack. Yesterday, we got offline, and it was like, man, Trump is winning, and here we go, you know? And I didn't know what was going to happen. Then all of a sudden, Trump makes a statement around 12 or 1-ish, and he basically is like, I won. You know, y'all needed to stop counting. I won. We doing this. And I'm like, well, wait a second. That's not how it goes. I fell asleep after that. Once I fell asleep, I woke up around 4 and found out that supposedly Biden won Arizona. And I was like, wait, this is going to be interesting. So now it is 9:02, and I knew at the end of the day, some new developments would have taken place. I definitely wanted to get on here and talk about it. I know Charles is going through some stuff right now in regards to getting his. Oh, here you go. Yes, if y'all didn't know, that's my brother. So yeah, I mean, and you see him a lot of times. He has a lot of things to say. A lot of times we agree with each other. Sometimes I be looking at him sideways, but that's love. I'm his little sister. But anywho, back to this election. Ty, what's going on? Did you wake up with anxiety? Did you just, talk to me?
I already told you I woke up ready, and I meant that because I didn't know how it was going to go. At the end of the day, regardless of what happens, I just want to be able to move forward collectively in a very peaceful, positive way. I'm tired of the drama. I'm tired of the misleading information. If you're the president right now, be the president.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be the TV star. That's not what we're looking for. Let the counts come in. Let it be what it is, and let's move on. And that's where I'm at right now, honestly.
That's asking a lot.
I know. But this is where that's the frame of mind I have that keeps me settled. This is where I'm at. I don't want to get hyped up and be too anxious before the actual last word is brought out. Oh, did we lose Kia?
I think we might have.
Yeah, I think we might have. So, there she is.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at. But I'm ready for whatever.
Yeah. What about you, Charles?
Well, I mean, I'm a person who I love the chaos. So everyone's out there, whatever, and they're all stressing out. Whatever. I'm sitting back there with my popcorn. I'm drinking wine, and I'm like, hey, I'm loving it. I'm a person. I'm an advocate of like the chaos theory. And essentially what it is that.
Oh no, this me again messing up with the internet.
Out of chaos comes order, and sometimes you have to go through those cycles of order versus chaos in order, for you to build something new. It's how you come out of those hard times,
right?
That will be a testament to who you are and where you're going to go as an individual, but also as a collective group. You know, I think we might have lost her again.
Yeah, he is having some problem, folks. But you know, this is unprompted, live, Mothers Unfiltered, so we just roll with it. It's what we do.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, you know, it's being a former amateur boxer for the Army. You know, the fight's not over until, you know, ding ding, the last bell sounds, whatever. You know what I'm saying? The time's up, whatever. And that's what. And so, you know, I was never, you know, in the sense of, oh, it's doom and gloom. I knew it was going to be close. A lot of it had to do with the strategy of the Democrats, and the strategy of the Democrats knowing, or at least anticipating, the chaos, the madness that is Donald Trump. They knew that they had to have a strategy that would circumvent the things that him and his administration were trying to do. For a key example, you know, with the Postal Service. You know, some individuals are like, oh, well, that wasn't, you know, that was all planned, you know, from a long time ago. Listen, when you have a brand new sorting machine installed in an actual post office, and then 2 weeks later, here comes the order to scrap it and dismantle it. That's not, you know, anything other than you're just playing games now and trying to slow down the actual mail collection services, whatever, you know. So I knew it was going to be close. I knew it's still close. It's still technically undecided, even though the math right now supports a Biden victory right now.
Yeah,
that can very easily change.
Yep.
So I'm not holding my breath. I do believe Trump needs to go. I can't wait for him to go. You know, and if I could, I would ring the broom to the White House for tarnishing our society, you know, and putting us on the brink of increased civil disturbance. I'm not going to say civil war because we're nowhere near that level, but, you know, definitely increased civil disturbance.
So,
and but at the same time, I know a lot of people may not agree with me. Trump is one of the best things that actually happened to this country. So we can't take
on high alert.
Yeah, no.
On the flip side, I really have to agree. Trump being in office put us on high alert. People that never indulged in politics are now researching it. And I keep saying we have shown up and shown out. We people who didn't think they were able to vote because of their past criminal record, found out that they were able to, registered, went out there, stood online. We learned a lot, and we did come together, even though we realized the actual divide, because we've always had a divide. It might not have been that open, right? And that obvious, but it was always there. So now we notice the actual divide. And now I think where we're at, now we could come together and figure out how we want to move forward.
I'll just comment to that real quick. Yeah. You know, the thing for me has always been, I'm a realist. I always believe in the truth, and the goal here, whatever is that the America as a collective is very blind to the truth, and they refuse to accept things as they happen because, like most people, ego gets in the way of self-reflection, and ego said, no, it was never that bad, or never, it wasn't that it wasn't that. Yes, it was. We saw the signs of evil that lives within the United States of America when Barack Obama came on board. Whatever, you have people who supported Obama. The Clintons eventually supported Obama to become the president. In his, what did Bill say? A couple of years ago, someone like Obama would be serving our dinner. So that goes to show you that even within some people, we give I always thought it was a story within African American culture, whatever, that they give Bill Clinton a pass as being the so-called first black president. I always thought that was very, very insulting, and I was always quick to correct anyone, whatever. He was not the first black president. Okay, Bill Clinton, just because he played the saxophone on the Arsenio Hall show, all of a sudden, whatever, he knows how to shuck and jive, and people want to go and give him, honorary black card, whatever. You know what I'm saying? No, Bill Clinton is a typical elitist. Okay, and his first thought pattern on the person who beat his wife to become the Democratic nominee and eventually president of the United States, whatever, was to think of him as a servant.
Did I mess up?
And that's the evil, that evil reflection, whatever, that people want to deny exists within this country. It's now bold in your face. You cannot deny it. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the great things I'm glad that Trump became president on. Now, we still need to get rid of his ass. We can't take four more of self-reflection.
I know that we're having I know on my end, and probably my end, having technical difficulties is coming in and out. But before it kind of buffers again on my end, I wanted to read you something. So the Shade Room posted, it says the Democrats will try to steal the election. This is supposedly coming from the Trump and Pence side. Just like I predicted from the start, mail-in ballots are leading to chaos like you've never seen, plain and simple. The radical left is going to do whatever it takes to try and rip a Trump-Pence victory away from you. And that's why I'm coming to, and that's what I'm coming to know. Coming to you now, excuse me. I need your help to ensure you have the resources to protect the results. We can't allow the left-wing mob to undermine the election. I'm asking my fierce and most loyal defenders like you to fight back now. And it's interesting that this little thing has been being passed around, because I was listening to AM radio, and they were just also talking about the protests in Detroit and how they ran in the building, and they wouldn't even let the regular people do their work, the poll watchers do their work, because they were saying stop the vote. Stop the count. Right. And it's just so interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, wouldn't you think that he would want the ballots to be counted so then he could do a recount? If you stop midway, you would even know exactly. I mean, it's just kind of contradictory how they're saying this. I don't.
No, it's not. Okay, so what you have to understand, whatever, is that Donald Trump is mentally ill. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and say whatever. I'm not a medical doctor, but there's something that it can't get right. We all know that the individual from that movie, from Life. Okay, that's Donald Trump to a certain degree. Okay, there's something that's off with him, and what's off with him is that Donald Trump is a megalomaniac, and megalomania is essentially a thought process where you believe that you are idolized and adored, and anything that you do is the greatest thing. It's Wonder Bread. Now, we all know that Wonder Bread is very tough to your system. It's gluten, okay? And that's what Trump is. Trump is gluten, and if you look at him, you can see gluten. We have this issue with someone who believes that his platform is literally infallible, and he cannot deal with the shattering of that prism, and a lot of that has to do with his upbringing. A lot of that has to do with the fact that as a businessman, a sole proprietor business corporation, he's the CEO. No one can remove Trump from his position as the head of the Trump, the Trump organization. There's no checks and balance. He's not used to that. He's not used to people telling him, no, you do this, you can't do that.
Or are we messing up?
Huh?
You're buffering a little bit.
Oh, I'm buffering. It could be here probably.
Oh, okay. We can still hear you. It's on and off. Well, like I said, this is an impromptu conversation, so we're gonna make it work. No, I mean, it's funny you say that, because at the end of the day, when people make the statements about how crazy Trump is, I take it a step further, and I said Trump is just the aftermath. It's the people that support Trump, because you can't you feel whatever you want to feel, but you have to have an audience. And I'd be scared as hell when I'd be looking at these people. They had a video of them like hailing to him. They had people. I mean, people will die for this man, and he wasn't lying when he said he could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and everything a-okay. And it's just like the mentality of these individuals. I mean, it's scary, because I was just telling our mom, I was saying, like, literally you can go down the street in certain directions, and the Trump trucks and these things, they'll run you off the road. They'll go crazy. Like, who are these people? You know,
they are the truth of America. That's what they are.
That is
they are the truth of America.
Yep.
And that, like I said, that's why I said becoming president, it was one of the best things that can happen, because now it forces you to deal with this truth that people have been pushing underneath the carpet for a very, very long time, essentially since 1964, when the passing of the Civil Rights Bill.
But yeah, because I don't particularly like Trump is the exact problem. Trump is fueled, like you said, by the people that, and I don't want to say worship, like I want to play like devil's advocate, you know, and let's just say that believe in him, not worship, because they could say the same on either side. So for me, I'm just going to leave it at that, just for devil's advocacy. But the people who believe in what he believes in, his chaos, his criminalism, his being a bully, like we give him too much power, and we continue to feed into it.
Well, I think you need I know you're going where you're going. That I believe you need to change that from we. There is no we in this,
right?
You know,
okay.
We us three,
right,
us three. Okay. We knew the serpent when we first saw him. You know. Now I'm not a religious person. You all know that I'm an atheist. But I do study theology, and I'll make an annotation right here: the golden calf scenario, whatever. Okay, you know, what happened to the guys out to the Jews when they were trying to get to the promised land? The golden calf, right? They melted all the gold that they stole from Egypt, and they made a monument, and that monument was there. And all their fears, all their anxiety, everything that was they put into that, and that was their savior, and that's what he is. He is nothing more other than a reflection of what exists within the ugly of America.
So what does that look like afterwards? So let's say Biden gets elected,
right?
And now we've exposed all the ugliness. What do we do with that? How do we really change it? What does it look like moving forward?
Well, you know, I'm a military guy, so I believe in shock and awe. You know, so you got to go ahead and expose them. You keep exposing them, whatever. Okay, you keep blasting them on social media. You keep going ahead, whatever. Everything that you've done to make their life uncomfortable up to this point needs to continue,
right?
Until either one, they change, or two, they leave. Okay.
Well,
there's been. I was going to finish this one last little snippet, whatever. Okay. There's been a lot of one of the big quotes, big sayings, that conservative, the ultra conservative, whatever, like to say to us, whatever, this is America, love it or leave it. All right. Well, I'm saying that back to them now. Okay. This is America. You will love all of America, or you will leave it. You have to drive your behind back to your ancestral home of Europe, because that's what you are. You're a European, okay, that just been here way too long. You overstayed your green card, all right, and Now you can live here in peace with everyone else, or you can go back to Europe.
Well, this is the segue for what I was going to say. I remember our grandmother saying that she said that and when I make the statements of white people, whatever, I'm talking about the ones who are racist, the ones who really want to institute white supremacy to its full, heart. So please understand that for the audience that's listening. But I know that my grandma said to me, she said, to establish and to keep it going, they will kill their own children. They will burn this place to the ground if they have to.
Yes.
So they won't give away their power, because they knew what it was like before they didn't have power. And it talks about, and grandma talked about, how the Moors would, they taught the Europeans, how to bathe and how to do this and write and this. And they like, well, wait a second now, we start doing this stuff ourselves. And, they kind of seen how this stuff is just so good. And now that they're gaining this power, they don't want to let that go. And my grandmama said, she said, they will die and take you right along with that. They will sell up their souls to keep it in power. And I was telling my daughter, I said, Trump is not going to go down without a fight. And I'm not talking about he's going to like, hey, I want to recount and, kind of do it like the Bush Gore thing and keep it like that. No, he's going to
right.
screaming and kicking. You're going to find out.
Well, also, here's the deal, too. There's a lot at stake for Trump. So, a lot of people know, like, Ty, you like to go ahead and play devil advocate, whatever. Okay, well, I'm going to play devil's advocate. What's waiting for Trump? Should he jail?
I heard about that.
Yes.
And so doesn't he have like
he has 25 pending sexual assault charges.
Trump is literally fighting for his life and freedom. Remember, he's done some very, very corrupt stuff in places and did things to people he should have never been tampering with. They want him. They're waiting.
Well, I mean, I know. Let's just. There's a great documentary about the buildings of New York City and how the mafia was involved in the construction and had this huge racket that was going on. And Donald Trump was briefly mentioned in this documentary, and I thought it was very, very interesting. How did Trump Tower get built?
I think that one.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So the Rudolph Giuliani was, the mafia buster, and he organized the 5 families in New York.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is in this documentary about dealing with how he dealt with, he had to deal with the unions.
Right.
So we all know how his buildings got built, and the kickback. There's nothing. I don't have any proof. I was a preteen during that time period, but I know that at that time period in the 80s, nothing was built in New York City without the mafia's involvement. So we know that there's some type of financial connection there. Okay?
He's a gangster. We knew that.
Funny about it. Having a conversation
because people all about this.
Well, all 3 of us are from New York, and being from New York, you see it all, you hear it all. But all of us knew who Donald Trump is. All of us knew that he was a hustler. All of us knew that he'll be your friend one day and stab you in the back the next day just to get what he wants. And that's what normally, those type of people do when you're trying to make money, even if you was white collar or you was just the regular thug in the street.
Right.
And for him to kind of just pull the wool over people's eyes. Like I would literally see him like saying things and, to one audience, like, they love me in Chicago, and then he's like, hey, Florida, like he's just living a lie, and people just fell for it. Like literally this New Yorker rocked everybody to sleep.
He's a
master hustler. I mean, okay, so one, he's a student of in the line of Hitler. He read Mein Kampf. Okay, now don't get me wrong. I've read Mein Kampf as well. Okay,
Yeah.
I have a copy of it. Whatever. Okay, it is a valuable historic document. Okay, to understand the mindset of how a wannabe demigod tried to come into power in Germany. Everything he does, whatever, is almost right out of that entire thing. I mean, he's a very, very poor communicator as far as our articulation is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not trying to appeal to Charles Haskins,
Right.
or to YouTube. He's trying to appeal to a lot of the base fears of the population, which is exactly what Hitler did. Mussolini did. They cater to those base fears of the other person is the reason why you are not successful. The other person's fault. Here in the United States, which teaches, okay, the Republican thing, whatever. What's the Republican line? Personal responsibility. It's the Mexicans. That's why. Anyway, I thought it was personal responsibility. So it's amazing how you can go from personal responsibility to now it's the brown people south of the border
They
who are
took
creating
jobs.
problems.
When did you ever see any of us working out there like when we wanted to? They weren't taking anyone's jobs.
Listen, the Mexicans replaced slave labor. That's essentially what the Mexicans did. Mexicans replaced slave labor.
That's exactly what. Yeah, that's exactly
what they did. I've driven through Georgia. I've seen Mexicans picking cotton in the fields. I've gone through Alabama. I've seen Mexicans, or not just Mexican. I mean, we use the word Mexican, whatever. That's too much of a general. People from Central America, South America, a lot of them, whatever, poor, unskilled labor. What they know how to do is deal with the fields, whatever. Okay, it's unfortunate. They come up here and they take care of it. Alabama learned the hard way when they hammered down on migrant workers,
right,
who didn't have the proper documentation, whatever. Yep. They had fields of food rotting.
Yep.
Now, and then all of a sudden, guess what? They had to let those migrant workers come back because when they offered Americans jobs, they offered Americans $10 an hour.
Yeah, we was like, nope.
To pick food, okay.
No.
And they needed like 3,000 people to come ahead and along with the machinery that can do this as well. They got less than that. I think they got like 12 or 13,000. None of them lasted past day 3. They quit. You weren't getting African Americans to do that type of work. We knew what happened last time. They went to work the fields. They got in the fields. Okay, so the African Americans weren't doing it. So white, I call them European Americans, they went in the fields. Poor European went in the fields, and they quit by day 3 because $10 an hour is not cutting it for them.
You're not lying.
So let me change the topic real quick and talk about the Senate race. A lot of times, a lot of people are always so focused on the presidential, we forget about everything else.
The Congress actually, in my opinion, the most important.
Yeah.
With that being said, we're at 47. The Republicans are at 48 with a total of 5 slots open. Do you think we'll take it?
Well, I know. I think, and we have 2 independents sitting in the Senate as well, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, the Senate is will defend the House. I can say that. Back to the Senate. No, I think the status quo will stay as it is in the Senate. Okay. But there's interesting play on that. Politicians, and with the exception of the squad, AOC and the squad, whatever. Mm-hmm. Most politicians outside of those progressive groups and Bernie Sanders are flip-floppers. They flip-flop from daylight. We all saw it with Mitt Romney. Perfect example. Donald Trump insults this man's wife, dogs her to death, whatever. Okay, all right, and you tell obviously he never grew up in the inner city, whatever. Okay, because he had no comebacks for that, whatever. Okay, all right. I mean, I don't necessarily if you would insult my partner, whatever. Okay, I don't necessarily have to put my hands on you, whatever. But I have the verbal skills from growing up in New York City, whatever. Okay, yeah.
In the bug.
Yeah, I can go from yes sir to son.
Right.
Okay. Right. He doesn't have that ability. That's unfortunate. Whatever. Okay. But he had allowed this to happen. All right, and then he went on to support the president.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, but then when he saw an opportunity to the president during the impeachment, he was the one Republican who crossed the line, whatever. Like, my man, come on. Okay.
Yeah.
You knew the individual that you crossed the line to help impeach, whatever. Okay. You knew that was the same guy who was assaulting your wife.
But I think it's they sell their souls, quote unquote, to the devil. And what I mean by that is kind of like, I'm a Republican and all my other constituents, they're going with him. And I may not get voted back in the next time around. I want to be voted in. So I got a family to feed and, I got to, represent and get some money in my pocket. So let me go ahead and do this. So I think that they just kind of go with the flow because even though it's a Ted Cruz, I mean, I think
Ted Cruz, another worm, spineless worm.
Yeah, he went in on his wife.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it too is Ted Cruz being I'm not gonna even go there. I was you know what? Yeah.
What's funny when you
got a comment back to Washington Heights, Harlem.
Think about what you gotta say. You're like, wait.
You just go leave it alone.
People from the hood understand where I came from.
I'm tilted right now.
Yeah, the rest of everybody else may not understand that. Whatever. But basically, what we're dealing with, whatever, is we deal with a lot of people who are flip-floppers, who will change based upon demands of the constituents, whatever, okay, to include things that they're morally against. Regardless of the fact I am not necessarily, and only time will tell, of course, because they've only been they haven't been corrupted by the senatorial process, whatever yet, the congressional process yet. But if they can maintain forthright like Bernie Sanders, and again, I don't agree with the things that Bernie does either, whatever. But the fact remains is whatever. Bernie Sanders, everything comes out of Bernie Sanders' mouth in 2020 came out of his mouth in 1990 and in 1980. Okay, he has not changed. He has remained this hard rock of maintaining this principal ground, whether you believe it in that principal ground or not, whatever. He will not compromise his values, his integrity. So in that regard, I respect Bernie Sanders immensely. Okay.
So they said breaking news: Trump campaign files lawsuit in Pennsylvania, Georgia, and I think that's Michigan.
Right. So the lawsuits.
God.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so technically speaking, I believe the state secretary of Michigan said whatever. No lawsuit can be filed until after December 1st. Because right, because for their state law states that they have until December 1st to do the full count, do the 5% checks that they have to do, and there's another term that goes beyond that, whatever. Okay, they have like the districts, and then they have like the region. They had a number for that. I can't recall what it was. They do this 5% like checks and balances. They check the machines, check the tallies. You know, it's like where they kind of go back and make sure everything's on the up and up.
Yeah,
that's a mandatory requirement for Michigan. They have to do that, and then they certify these votes as being legit. Everything works out, whatever. Then the lawsuit can actually go through. So he can't stop anything. Matter of fact, when that was brought to her attention, to the state secretary of Michigan, whatever, she kind of laughed it off, whatever. She's like, listen, no lawsuit can be filed until after December 1st because everything right now is technically unofficial.
But again, we knew that he was going to use this tactic. I mean, this is all premeditated. He started it. He started putting it out there into people's heads, and now we're starting to see the aftermath, even though there's no final word on anything.
Well, I mean that's the exact thing.
Also, I'm sorry to cut you off. It's interesting because while you guys talk, I kept turning my head, looking because I'm looking at Georgia. They're very, very close now in Georgia compared to how they officially gave it to Biden in Arizona right now.
Good.
No, it says too early to call still. Okay, Georgia's too early to call. It's only 38,000.
They said we might know Arizona by the end of tonight. Arizona might be announced by the end of tonight.
So for Georgia, it's 49.8 for Trump, and then it's 49.0 for Biden. So it's very, very close.
Well, and it's funny because you really can see the separation and the divide within the state between the folks who are looking at it from Trump's perspective in regards to money, and then everyone else that's affected by everything else that's going on in the world. You can, and that's why it's like so close. It's literally the whole state is divided. Yeah.
I mean, but that goes back to what I said on the when you're whatever. This country has been divided from its inception. Okay, you go back to the actual Revolutionary War. The Marquis de Lafayette, who was a French military advisor to George Washington, told him, you can go ahead and win this war like that. Solve all your manpower problems. Just free the slaves. He said, because France, even though France practices slavery in the colonies, slavery in the country of France. Underneath the English, the French king. There was a law passed in the 1300s. Slavery is illegal. You can't have slavery in your home country. You can't do it. It leads to chaos. It leads to what we're dealing with right now. And Washington didn't do it. He sold his soul to get the help of the South because he felt they needed help of the South, whatever, okay? In reality, they did not. They did not need the help of the South.
So for anybody listening, or you guys now, when do you think this is actually going to be over? I mean,
what do you mean by over? Like
meaning that you actually it's been announced that so-and-so won the presidency.
Without the courts, without retallies, without
I
think a couple of weeks. No, he's even said December, and we already had Trump's people trying to sue again. That there's so much chaos going on within the chaos we already have.
Right.
I think it's going to be a while.
So let's take that and say that while that you have. So let's just say, based on what Charles said, and hey, December the 1st is the earliest that you can even do something, blah, 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 blah. So do you honestly think it could be something where he is not leaving that presidency? In the true sense of the word, he will be kicking and screaming out that office.
Absolutely. I think so.
Okay. What I personally would like to see is him sticking to his gun. I want to see him say, I'm sticking to the gun. I want him to say, I'm staying here. You're not kicking me out. And then I want to see Joe Biden.
Good.
Joe Biden with his advisor, President Obama, walk into that office, drag that ass out to Pennsylvania Avenue, and dump him on the curb. That's what I really want to see. And I think that and go down as the greatest movie in American history. Now, I don't think that's going to happen.
It's buffering really bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys come in clear, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you are buffering.
Yeah, like it's storming on your end.
Oh no! Oh wow! No.
Oh,
can you get your light?
Let me see if I can try to. Hold on.
Just maybe if you come in and come back out, it might help. That's what I did.
What do you think, Kia? Do you think he's going to leave without? If again, if he does not win, do you think he will leave without causing havoc?
I think that he is going to set the stage for chaos, mass chaos. And what I mean by that, I don't know if Charles is coming back on or off because he on. Yeah, okay. So he's
he'll be
okay. That's good. Much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
It's better than before, though.
Not on this side.
Oh.
How are y'all? Our couple of viewers, we see you coming in and out. Is he?
I've seen viewers come in and out, so I don't know.
Yeah, let us know what's going on out there.
Is it so it's basically I'm like choppy and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that whatever happens, again, there's just a smooth, peaceful transition.
No. I was going to say this. So I don't know, and I'm really, really bad with names, so I couldn't even quote a name, but I do remember when he was filling up his cabinet and saying, hey, I want this one to do this job and this one to do this job. There were people who were already assigned jobs and they had jobs. And what Trump would do is like, hey, let's just say his name is Bobby. You're having this job. You're taking this job. And literally it'll be two people in the same position. And it's like, well, wait a second. I'm on the payroll. And another guy's like, well, I'm on the payroll. And the people didn't even know who to answer to because of the fact he would just hire people and kind of thug it out. It's kind of like right now, if you fired me, but I come to work the next day. And what the fuck you doing here? And I'm like, well, I'm still working here. Like
I actually told one of my bosses that you can fire me and the next day I'll be sitting in the chair. I swear.
But that's an episode of Seinfeld. Like literally, Charles, I'm sorry. We thought about it really long and hard, and services are no longer needed here. And then all of a sudden, I turn around and I see your ass sitting right back in the chair.
Wait, I think his boys will help him put up a fight. I absolutely believe so as well. But again, like Kia said, he's going to set that tone. He's going to make that call. He's going to do that signal. It's going to be that non-safe word, and whatever they got going on, and that's going to be that.
In Ocala and Florida, like I said, I know you guys probably get your own local news. They just arrested a guy for having so many homemade bombs. They was like it was enough to blow up buildings. Now, of course, the FBI is now looking into it because they don't know, what is this all about? Right. But of course, now people are starting to think. Then they had something going on with the protest that they had in Philly just recently, and there was just a whole truck loaded with bombs. So, of course, you have one side of the fence, oh, that's the Antifa with their bombs. And then you have another side say, oh, that's somebody, Right. So at the end of the day, there's going to be people and casualties. I just make sure that you're safe and you're not going in big crowds because they're already starting. I seen one of the comments when we were talking. They said that in Pittsburgh, I'm in Pittsburgh and downtown businesses are boarded up. I mean,
They have businesses boarded up in New York City too, correct, Charles?
Yes, they did. Downtown Manhattan, a lot of businesses. Downtown Brooklyn, some businesses boarded up as well. But they also remember, what happened, during their actual riots.
Right.
The George Floyd defund the police. Am I coming in better now, or?
You are coming in better, yeah.
Still a little choppy.
Still a little choppy, but just coming in better though.
Yeah. I mean, but it's, even though I talk about how I want things to be peaceful, and I really do mean that, but I'm not an idiot either. I do understand what's going on right in front of us. And I do understand that sometimes we need chaos for there to be order.
Right.
It has to happen.
Listen, our people in this country are still angry that segregation ended. People in this country who are still angry the fact that slavery ended.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And as I mentioned before, as I'll talk to my brother-in-law, your husband, that any type of African American rights equality cannot be accomplished just by ourselves. We need allies. That is how the LGBTQ movement. That's how that movement became successful. They got allies outside of their community. They had to. They didn't have numbers. All right.
Again.
You're buffering again really bad.
Oh man. Yeah.
What is going on over there, Mr. Charles?
Let me go ahead. I'm gonna restart it and then I'll come back on.
Okay, sure. No worries. And just to let anybody that's tuning in later, this is a very impromptu episode of Mothers Unfiltered, and I think it needed to be happened because a lot of times we sit in our house and we looking at the news, we turning the news off and on, we scratching our head, our ass, and all types of elbows, just like, well, what the hell is happening? So it's just good to kind of digress and get to talking and hear other people's perspectives, and even if you just want to vent, because this is really crazy. And every time I say this can't be happening, this can't be real, something else happens. I'm like, oh, I think 2020 in actuality has taught me how grown I'm not.
Wow.
It taught me that I'm not grown at all, and you got a lot of learning to do. And I say that because you think you've seen that, you've been there, you've seen that. I mean, no, nobody's dealt with the corona, nobody's dealt with none of this before, so this is all new. And it kind of changes your perspective on life and everything. So this whole thing is really crazy, and I can't believe that we are living testaments of what's happening. To tell our children and our grandbabies or whoever we have that are younger than us is just really, really crazy.
Do we know what the electoral votes are right now?
Yes. Trump is at 214 and Biden is at 253.
Okay. So we're still, it's close. There's a close call in a lot of places. It can go either or, honestly. Again, I think it's going to be a while before we get through the whole hot mess of really sorting everything out and really being able to confidently say this is our re-elected president or this is our new president. So we have to, again, wait till, they start picking out all the stuff from the aftermath to figure out where we're at.
Well, I know that when we talk this Sunday and we have our guest Shawnette come on, I want to be able to kind of, that's going to be.
And remember, guys, yes, thank you. This Sunday, Miss Shawnette will be debriefing with her. Hopefully we'll be further along, figuring out where we're at within this presidential race so we could really sit down and just like woosah.
Yeah. but it's crazy because it's unfortunate because even though that will happen Sunday, we still are not going to have any answers by then. You know, just a little bit more knowledge, and we'll still be in the same little rat, circle.
Right, right.
Really, really sucky. Oh, that looks good.
Okay, see, when you're up close like that, it's fine, and then you back up, and it just goes to shits. So stay all up in the area, just like that. Well, not like that.
No, when you was gone, I was just simply talking about, even this Sunday when I have the actual, podcast and we're talking and everything, nothing will change. There will be no definitive answer. A little bit more knowledge. We're still in this same rat race on this hamster wheel. And it's just very unfortunate. And I was also telling Ty that 2020 has taught me and made me realize that I'm still have a lot to learn. And I'm not as grown as I thought I was. Because even though we may have our own, okay, my preference here and I feel about this, there's so many things that are going on outside, like I would never have thought that I would actually experience what's going on in 2020. Nobody would ever have thought that there was a pandemic.
Right.
Here's the deal. Unfortunately, a lot of Americans are not informed.
Darn it, Charles.
And all of this essentially was predicted many, many years ago. The WHO and matter of fact, it was a TED Talks, it was a thing that I listened to back in 2015 that predicted, these waves of respiratory diseases that will start showing their ugly faces around whatever. Why? Because of the environment. Okay, because of overpopulation. There's a price to success, and when you are, I believe it's supposed to be 50 square acres of resources needed to feed a family of 4. So if 4, it's 40 square acres of resources per person. I mean per family. A family unit of 40 acres worth of resources to sustain that family. And if you multiply that by the amount of people we have on this planet, whatever, we need basically 2 planets. Okay, so we're living in a place of overpopulation, over-industrialization, not living in balance with the very environment that we're supposed to be provided for, taken care of, whatever. Okay, so that balance is disrupted. So we're going to see more. We're going to see more of this. We're going to see more issues because nature finds a way of balancing itself out.
Yeah,
humanity is not living in balance with the very planet that we have. I'm not getting into alien conspiracies or any of that type, and reptile people and all that type of stuff, whatever.
Yeah. But it's true. We do need that balance, though. And listen, when we've come to this point, it's unfortunate, and we know that the circle of life, you're here and then you're gone. That's just the way it is. No one and nothing is here forever. But when you're overpopulated, something has to happen. Some folks have to go, and it's unfortunate. We have outgrown our natural resources.
And the sad issues is whatever is that you have the technology. Backing up during the 50s, so right after World War II, we saw a dramatic jump in the level of technology. Okay, we went basically from 1914 to basically 1951. We saw exponentially high increase in the level of technology. That technology usage, whatever, was pushed actually by the government. All right, governments push these technological innovations, take us whatever Now, granted, majority came for the wrong reasons. All right, warfare, ethnic cleansing, ethnic dominance over another person, whatever. But they were pushed by actual governments, whatever, to push the fold of technology. We have the ability right now to go ahead and actually provide power, clean energy for everyone here in the United States. We have the finances in the country to provide housing for everyone here in this country. All right. If the Department of Defense last announced they lost $1.1 trillion.
Nobody knows that.
The DOD lost $1.1 trillion. And what was the response from Congress? Do a better job next time. So we have the money. Obviously, it wasn't that big of a deal. No one got arrested over it.
Mm-mm.
Right.
No one was thrown in jail. Okay, no one got no one had that messed up because $1 trillion was messed up. Okay, whatever. Okay, so the money's there. It's the lack of will, the systematic lack of will in this country to care for someone other than yourself.
Right.
And we teach this in school. We teach this to children, preschool, to share. Share your toys. Don't be
there for some reason.
Yeah. Don't be Becky, okay, or Lucita, okay, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the child's name is. We children all these things. But no, when you turn, fuck you. You're on your own.
You know what? On the flip side of that, we teach our kids to share. However, we also teach our kids to play games that are very competitive, where it is all about them. So we have taught contradictory things for our kids. And then again, make sure you share with little Susie and little Billy, but you better win when you're playing that softball game, or do this and team spirit, and then the I, and you have to be the leader and the VIP. We teach them a lot of different things, and then now we get to see how it plays out.
Right. Well, I mean, there are strengths that need to be developed at particular points in time. One of the benefits of it is that it teaches whatever. Teamwork, team unity, whatever, okay, together, whatever, building. At the same time, it also teaches whatever might kind of make I can roll right over because I have the bigger muscles, or I have the faster than you, whatever. The truth of reality is, and it's taken all whatever, is that nothing's fair. Some of us are born stronger than others. Some of us are born more intellectually sharper than others. Mm-hmm. Some of us are born faster than others, whatever, okay? But to live in a civil society, we have to try to make things as even as possible. I don't want to say necessarily even, but make things livable.
Right.
Not everything's going to be even all the time, whatever, okay? You may live on the downside of the hill. Hey man, you ain't get all the flood water. You know what I'm saying? But
then that's where the question comes in: livable in whose eyes? Because their livable is different than our livable. No one's saying that theirs is better than ours or ours is better than theirs, but it's their standards, their morals, their ethics. So again, when you start off in the same school, but that because this child's parents, they have this job, so now you're able to join the elite basketball. You have more opportunities, whatever, because your social standing. Right. Like this is what we teach, and again, we watch it play out in politics. Well, and I understand that my life, my son's life, my people's life matters to me, but it matters to them too on their end, the way they live. Their money matters in the way they shop, the way, calling in their nannies, the way their businesses are run. That's their livelihood.
Right,
so
right.
can I really be upset because you don't believe in what I believe in? Our view and our experiences are different. Right. Now, when you start harming people intentionally and using those things to oppress,
now we got a problem.
Right. And I think that's where we've divided between Trump and Biden.
Right.
Do I want Biden? When I look at it, I look at Biden and Trump. Do I want my Black men arrested and incarcerated under Biden, or do I want them murdered under Trump? And that's where I'm at.
Well, I think now at this very point in time in 2020, so I think everything changes with times. And I remember, back in the day, because he's been in office for a very long time, and shoot, if you was to talk to Biden or Hill or the Clintons or whoever back then, even gay marriage wasn't a cool thing, and they were anti this, and you could kind of pull their cards and say, hey, you didn't support that. So I think at that time frame, even though he was, he put these things into law and all these things and rumors with him and actual factuals took place and these men were incarcerated, at the end of the day in 2020, I don't think that same legislative would have full play now. I think it would definitely look different.
Well, times do change. Whatever you would like to think that a person, when they come into office, is morally astute and is willing to be forthright and stand their ground on issues of morality and ethics. Unfortunately, that's not how I perceive someone's moral and ethics, how necessarily they perceive it. He made a comment back. Okay, so basically, Joe Biden, there was this huge issue in Delaware where he was the senator of, where he essentially fought against the desegregating
busing,
the busing to take children to school.
I remember that.
And but now most people don't really know the full issue. So the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was signed by LBJ, passed by a democratically controlled Congress. Okay, Democrats controlled both the Senate and they controlled the House of Representatives in 1964. That law didn't go into effect until 1968. That law also had a 12-year period of phasing in. States were allowed to phase in certain things. So this was the phase-in period that was going on in Delaware. So we're talking about Delaware in 1977 still had segregation.
Right.
And you had parents fighting against it. In his mind, and this is him justifying his actions now.
Right.
Okay. What he was doing, what he said, was essentially trying to find the medium ground to not to try to appease both sides, to fulfill the federal law that said desegregation had to happen, but to also make these parents, whatever, who are concerned about the ramifications of their child being culturally exposed to African Americans, she's trying. That was what his defense was, whatever. Okay,
right.
He said now in the 70s that he was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we going to hold that against him? Yes. Yes and no. I know. We go ahead, whatever. We don't give him a pass on it, remember?
We don't forget. We continue to keep a sharp eye.
Well, and you should be able to hold him. No, you should be able to hold him accountable for the things that he's done in the past. Don't. I mean, of course now we're not going to be like, you know what? and I know a lot of people say, you know, we have to vote for him because we can't have Trump. We already know what we're facing with, but I think that now that he possibly can be the president, we have to hold him accountable, and we have to let him know, like, hey, you're second term. Oh, Ms. Harris, you want a second term? You know, this now we're here to talk.
Right. But here's the thing, though. A lot of people wait to the last minute to do anything. Okay. We all know people procrastinate. So here's the deal, whatever. Okay. So I've made a total of 29 calls to the New York State Senator Schumer in regards to I'm breaking up again?
No.
Oh.
Go ahead, Ty. Go ahead, Ty.
No,
no, you go ahead.
I wasn't speaking. Charles was. I was just.
Yeah.
I thought I was breaking up again.
No.
So I placed 29 calls. A total of 29 times. I contacted Schumer about the issue at the border with the children on with the immigration issue. 29 phone calls from one person. Okay. Why isn't everyone doing that?
Right.
Okay.
Because not everyone cares. There's not every issue is everyone's issue. And this is the problem.
Right.
What I care about doesn't mean that you have to care about it.
Right. And you know, but for the people who do care about it, or at least claim they care about it, whatever, okay,
right,
when it's brought to the forefront of their frontal lobe, all right. Why aren't they doing that? Why aren't his assistants, whatever, should be putting you on a voicemail, okay? Because you're flooding them every single day with your concerns on what you need to do.
Well, I think
they are your representatives.
Well,
you're representative, whatever. Okay.
I think that, so here we have this presidency, you know, it's so big, everyone's talking about it's the hottest topic, but at one point we will know who our president is, but that's still not going to change the laws of the land. It's still not going to change policing. It's still not going to change the things that affect us. And I think this was the phenomenal time where people were protesting everywhere, literally in every single state. This summer I turned on and some state was burning. And it was like, wow. And I think even if us as older people are not making those phone calls to our leaders and not doing the legwork, we have our youth that is. And our youth is like, you know what, we're out in these streets and we're going to get our voices heard. And I'm very, very happy to see that they are, you know, putting that work in compared to, I mean, I get it. You know, each generation, they have their flaws, you know, our generation is not perfect, but I love the fact that the youth is out there and they're trying to, you know, get their voices heard. And I think that now that the climax that we're at, I think that momentum will still continue on, because here's the thing. If we know anything about Trump, he will kick and scream. It may be something where literally live on TV, you see somebody dragging him out of office, you know. Yeah, it may be this whole crazy thing, but that just gives that fuel, that fire, because guess what? Every chance you go, you see somebody fussing at somebody because they had a Black Lives Matter shirt on and this one, and it's so much, you know, these young people are not taking it anymore, you know, and they're coming up and they're stepping up to the plate where we fail.
Their college tuition is being affected. Like they are personally recognizing what's being done to them, and they are smart enough to understand that the way to go about making change is to do exactly what they've been doing. Like Charles said from the beginning, you know, having Trump in office was like one of the best things that could have happened. We've hit some very monumental steps in where we're at.
Change, yeah.
And again, it goes back out the chaos.
Right.
without chaos, there is no order. We needed this chaos for people to step up and say, I will not take it no more, regardless of how you feel.
Right. But, you know, and change comes slow. You know, change comes slow in this country, and change always comes in this country when it comes to equality with violence. It always requires violence. There's never been a case, whatever, where equality has been achieved without violence. Now,
like my dad.
I mean, it's truth, whatever. Okay. I mean, Martin Luther King's protests were all violent.
Right.
He was peaceful.
Right.
His constituents were peaceful. What I care. The law enforcement officers, yes, law enforcement. I'm busting you out. Yes, law enforcement officers, whatever. Okay. Fire department personnel, whatever. Okay, as well as regular citizens, whatever, would beat their asses. All his protests were violent.
Right.
Okay? He and his followers, whatever. Okay, were nonviolent. They allowed themselves essentially to get beat up for the cause, whatever, of showing the world the ugliness of the United States.
Right. Okay. Wait. Hold on. So, Kia, I see you looking. What are you seeing? Give us the report.
Oh, it just says, so Biden's ahead by 7,000 in Nevada. For Georgia, Trump is ahead just 33,000. North Carolina, it cut off. But it says here that we will get the rest of the votes for Arizona and Georgia tonight. And they're doing the little tallies on the machine, but everywhere you go in every little scenario, Biden is going to win. And Trump
really,
yeah.
Well, even Fox is kind of saying the same thing. You know, when I analyze things, whatever, I got my multiple monitors up, whatever.
Yes.
And then so I'm looking at these three monitors, and I have CNN, I got BBC, I got NPR, I got Fox, and I'm flooding in all this information, and I'm filtering things out, things of that nature, whatever, but that comes from my days in the military, whatever, you gotta get the good intel and stuff like that. And I even have some of the more fringe news sites, whatever, all the crazies and wackadoos, whatever. I even have that up, whatever. That way I can contrast and compare, whatever. And I'm saying,
right.
And it also pays to know what the belief systems of your enemies. But I don't think we cannot afford any longer to be non-participants in our own fate.
Yeah.
Can you say that one more again?
I said we cannot afford to be non-participants in our own fate. And that has been one of the biggest issues we've had here in this country. All right. Every single dollar that is spent by this government is your business.
Mm-hmm.
It is your business.
Mm-hmm.
If 1 cent is spent on a $1,000 toilet bowl in the Pentagon, guess what? I'm making it my business because that's my tax dollars.
Right.
Okay? Now, some people will say, "Oh, well, guess what? Oh, no one's gonna pay you no attention, Charles." Well, yeah, no one's gonna pay Charles Haskins no attention. It's probably unlikely. But now, if they're getting phone calls from Ty and Nakia, about that $10,000,
they're gonna pay attention.
Now they're gonna pay attention when there's 30,000 of us, 40,000 of us, 300,000 of us, whatever, complaining. Why are you spending $10,000 on a freaking toilet bowl when you can take your ass down to Home Depot, okay, and buy one $10, okay? Or hey, you want one that lasts? Okay, we'll give you 40, okay.
Right.
All right.
And we're better I think we're in a position where we're better informed now, and now we understand that we need to ask questions. We need to seek out facts and understand what's going on in the place we live in, period. Like you said, well, If you could go down to the Home Depot and get a toilet bowl for this amount of money, why is yours outlined in gold and then the handle is in rubies? No.
Right.
We have to make people accountable for their actions, and that's where I'm at. What happened?
They're putting up, they say that Trump's advisors are saying they can't lose Georgia because that would be the end of the race. Because Georgia, like I said, is a very, very close, narrow margin. It's
well, the next update's coming in 3 seconds. So,
and we should have Georgia by the end of the night. Oh boy. Hi, little Monchichi. Hi, little cousin. How are you? You tired?
Yeah, she's tired.
Look at her. She's so beautiful.
Thank you. No,
but the I'm stuttering.
Get it together.
The issue that any minority group here in this country has to understand is that everything affects your group.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything. So you cannot have, we're only fighting for this. We're only fighting for that. Okay, no, you have to fight for everything. Because
my goodness.
In this 50 states, whatever, everything affects you. If they go ahead and put a pipeline in Dakota, and that pipeline busts.
You know why she's saying that? Because she had a conversation she was having an indirect conversation one time with my mom. So we were talking on the phone and I was on speakerphone. And I guess my mother, you know how you hear little bits and pieces? So they're like kind of talking, but not, they're not holding the phone to each other. And that's something that Ty was mentioning. Like everything affects you. They're putting something in, like you said, in South Dakota, that's still affecting you indirectly. And you have to know, you have to be able to know these things. And it's funny because that made me even think a lot of times it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. Like, okay, I live in Florida. I should know about Florida. And that's it. But no, all these things are affecting your community, even if it was in Connecticut, Hoboken, New Jersey, California. But I want to say this before we wrap things up. So right now, the news is saying, and you're probably seeing it on your end, that Arizona and Georgia will definitely have their numbers in by tonight. Right. Now, of course, they're taking things to court, and that's a whole nother process within itself. But when the press says, we're calling it, okay, everybody's going to start talking about it, what happens then? And what I mean by what happens then is in reference to protecting yourself. The average little kid is not going to walk around with a, bulletproof vest and, and these things, when they say, well, hey, Charles, how do you prepare? Well, we know that you're prior military and we know that you have this tactical background. And Ty, we know that you have your guns and, so we all know about this, but I'm talking about the kids. The kids in their safety. I have my daughter, for instance, she plays basketball, or maybe you take your little son, to the daycare or whatever have you. How do you protect your kids and your family?
So the first thing that you have to do is accept the truth. You live in a hostile environment. Mm-hmm. All right. Once you've accepted that, and most African Americans don't accept that. Do not accept that the very, 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 very square space their feet rest in an actual hostile environment. They won't. They believe in, and I'm going to go in, those spirituals with, and this right here is going to save me, and whatever. And I'm saying, okay. All right. You got to go ahead and understand whatever. Okay. This country's been around for 204 years. 89 is involved in keeping people of African descent safe. Another 9 years was spent keeping people of African descent second-class citizens. Jim Crow, 9 yards. Because a law was passed in 1964 that made us paper, and and again, it didn't go into effect immediately. Went into effect 4 years later, and they had a 12-year grace period to implement things, whatever. All right, which puts you into 1980. 2013, Mississippi ratifies the 13th Amendment, outlawing slavery. That's 7 years ago. We live in a hostile environment. Accept that.
Okay.
When you walk outside the front door, your A game needs to be on. And that's hard for a lot of people. You saw people down during the pandemic. Okay? They can't go ahead and I need to stay inside to protect myself. I need to go get my latte. I need to go to the movies. I need to go get my hair done. Or this and this and this, whatever, okay? I'm a trained individual. I've been trained, I'm highly disciplined, whatever, okay? If I have to stay put in one area, I can do that. All right. But the average person cannot. So you understand within what means for the average person who's not trained, what can they do to protect them, their family and themselves
from civil unrest.
From civil unrest. All right. Stay indoors.
And bottom line.
Okay.
But I mean, for me, it's even you're talking about like physical protection and then the protection that's supposed to be in place from the government. That's two different types of protection for me, because I can stay inside of my home and protect me and my family within my home.
Right.
And still get penalized by the system.
Right. For defending your home. Right. So I mean, there's a lot of things, whatever, that need to happen. Other than exceptionally changing the laws and getting out there and that whole 9 yard, wherever, on an individual level, what can you do, whatever, okay? So you have to look into, you had the whole prepper guy that came on here, whatever, right?
Listen, if you know something's going on in your neighborhood and you do not have access to any weapons, let me tell you,
there's an app.
If you have oatmeal, if you have cooking oil, get that stuff hot, start throwing it at people before they get to. Listen,
well, I want to take it
styrofoam and kerosene.
I want to take it a step further. I don't know.
It'll stick.
I don't know about the roads up in New York State or in New York City, but here in the South, there's a lot of open road. You see them all the time, those trucks with the big flags, and they will run you off the road. My brother makes the statement, if you can stay at home, of course, but not everybody has the luxury to stay at home.
Of course,
because there are all types of scenarios going on. With that being said, I just encourage everybody, like I tell my older one, take your mace with you. Do not engage with people. Yeah, do not engage with people. Because a lot of times, somebody say something slick out their mouth. What you say? No, you didn't, and those things. Don't engage. And the reason why, because a lot of things can happen now. And who cares if you have a phone and you're recording something? Because at the end of the day, you still could be getting beat up while you're getting recorded, recording something. You just don't want to have that. I know here you can see it. You can see it. I was looking at something. It was something going on in DC. People were taken to the streets. And these were the Trump supporters. But I just want the audience and I want everybody to stay safe as much as they can. 2020 ain't over. The pandemic is not over. The pandemic is not over. We're talking about this, but people are still getting affected by the coronavirus and still dying. A lot of things are going on in 2020, and we haven't even talked about it.
I like what you said. Like, do not engage. I am no stranger to running my mouth, but I am smart enough to know that in this volatile time that we're in right now, I'm gonna keep my head down and keep it moving because I want to make it back home to my family. There are some things, some battles that you just should not walk into or stay in.
Pick your fights, of course.
And guys, I just want to like a little disclaimer. We're not saying that if you're a Trump supporter or you voted for Trump that you're going to be out there wreaking havoc, or if you drive a big truck that it's always going to be a problem. It's not a stereotype. We're just saying for everyone on both sides. Be prepared. I have to put that out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, just so everyone knows, it's not either or. Just be safe. Do not engage. There is another day tomorrow. If you want to go home and run your mouth on Facebook and go live, do whatever you got to do. But we don't have to hurt each other. Even if we don't agree, we do not have to hurt each other. And that's where I'm at.
So the last thing I wanted to ask everybody, your prediction. I know we're not these psychics. You know how like the end of the show, like, what do you predict? Where do you see these last 2 months for 2020? Where do you predict, Charles?
I predict on the political stage. I predict a lot of legal challenges. Trump's not going to go quietly into the night. Republicans are going to hunker down and fortify themselves, whatever, and maintain their righteousness. Okay, and I also see the virus getting worse, because you have various religious groups who do not want to comply with the health regulations is meant to protect everyone.
Right.
They view that their fictional God's going to go ahead and save them. Oh, wait a minute! The preacher got COVID and died. So much for that protection. Going into cold and flu season, so that compounded with COVID, and I believe we're going to see a lot of people who do not want to be told what to do.
Okay.
And they will go ahead and make their presence known. As Darwin says, he who does not adapt does not survive. So let them.
Thank you. And what about you, Ty?
My prediction, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. I think on both sides we need to learn a lot of lessons. I think there's going to be a lot of battles in court over a lot of things. I do not think Trump is going to go quietly if he is not reelected. And I think that we are really going to be, we're really going to have to really worry about our safety during a certain period until it can calm down, honestly. I've been saying from the beginning, I'm worried. I'm very worried, very, very worried. So
yeah, definitely reconnect with family, family, friends, long-term friends. Not the toxic friends. We don't want those, whatever, you know what I'm saying? The toxic friend type, they got to go, whatever, you know what I'm saying? The leeches, we don't want the leeches, you know what I'm saying? But, just the good friends, you made it lost contact with, whatever, good family members, reconnect with them, whatever, because, when it comes down to it, whatever, no individual is an army by themselves, but you need an army in order to win a war. So you need like-minded people who will stand by you, and when I say war, I'm not talking about fighting in the street with like military style operations, whatever. Okay, all right, but you can join a food co-op. That's a form of a war. Okay, joining that food co-op, putting your time in, whatever, to ensure that the vegetables are out there, whatever, making sure that the old woman who is not able to get her food because she's old and she has no family members, whatever. These are all things, whatever, you can help do, whatever. Okay, be more socially active in your politically active in your community on the local level as well as the higher levels, whatever. Right, all that will help as well. All right. If you're a veteran, okay, there's a thing called Team Rubicon. where you can go and utilize all those military skills for disaster relief. Okay, there's other organizations that do that as well, but that's just the one that I have some affiliation with. And you put that time and energy into caring for what's going on outside your door, because one day a tank might be sitting there and it's too late. Your little slingshot ain't gonna do anything.
Not the slingshot.
Kia, so what is your prediction, my love?
I do believe that this election will go down in history. I do believe that this election is going to be an eye opener for many, and that will be the segue for their growth. Because at the end of the day, once you hit rock bottom, there's no other way but up to go. And if you decide not to change, and if you do decide not to change your ways, you will fail, and you'll be a statistic. I do believe that this is the beginning of worse, because of course we only have 2 more months and then we're going into 2021. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And one thing Charles said, reference to, being with family and loved ones, and just kind of unifying that front to make sure that's good, because, what resource I have, he may not have, and vice versa. And then you have to kind of bounce collectively off of each other. But this is just the beginning. And I just hope, and I do pray. I know we're opposite, me and my brother, but for me praying, I pray that people have that collective mindset, that they get their shit together, because it's going down.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. For people to get their minds together.
Going down.
Well, I look at it this way. The dinosaurs lasted how many millions of years? It only took one asteroid to wipe them out. Right? Who survived? The mammals. All right, the little rats. Okay, because they were able to adapt. The dinosaurs could not adapt. The only dinosaur that's around right now is a chicken. Bird.
Why is it every time I
chickens are modern day dinosaurs? They're genetically related to dinosaurs, but they're chickens. You know what I'm saying? No one wants a chicken. Okay, I mean they taste good. I mean they're not the T-Rex that they used to be. They're chickens. Okay, so if you don't want to be a chicken, adapt to the current situation and be the T-Rex that you want to be. Otherwise, I'll pick you up with 2 drumsticks and some biscuits at Kentucky Fried. Now, I don't do that stuff with him. I'll give it to the homeless guy in the street, whatever. But, you'll be down here.
Yeah, I'm done.
Get your shit together.
Well, I just want to say to everybody that has watched now, before, later, that I love you guys. Stay strong. Don't have too much anxiety going on, but we will get through this collectively.
Eat some chicken.
Bye.